Have you ever wondered how a civilization without paper could record its entire history? In the heart of the Mexican jungle, the ancient city of Palenque holds the answer. Here, history wasn't written on fragile scrolls. It was carved into stone, creating a library that has endured for centuries. Every wall, every temple, every grand staircase speaks in a silent, yet powerful language. Welcome to Palenque, where the stones themselves tell the stories of kings, gods, and a world long past. Today, we're diving deep into the genius of Maya architecture and engineering. How did they build these monumental structures without modern tools? How did they manage water in a dense, tropical rainforest? And how did the very layout of their city reflect their understanding of the cosmos? We'll start by exploring the construction techniques that allowed them to raise pyramids to the sky. Forget what you think you know about simple stone stacking. The Maya were master builders. They used a combination of precisely cut limestone blocks, held together by a surprisingly strong mortar made from burnt lime and sand. This wasn't just about stacking rocks. It was about creating structures that were both immense and incredibly stable. Look at the Temple of the Inscriptions. For example, it rises nearly 75 feet from the jungle floor, a testament to their skill. Each stone was quarried, transported, and lifted into place by human power alone. Imagine the sheer manpower and organizational genius required to coordinate such a feat. They also employed clever architectural features like the corbelled arch, a distinctive Maya innovation. Instead of a true arch with a keystone, they layered stones progressively inward from both sides until they met at the top. This created the iconic vaulted ceilings you see inside the temples, giving the rooms a sense of grandeur and height, while also distributing the immense weight of the roof. But building tall was only half the battle. Surviving in a rainforest meant mastering water. Palenque is famous for its intricate water management systems. The city is crisscrossed by natural streams, but instead of just living with them, the Maya engineered them. They built subterranean aqueducts to channel water underneath their main plazas and buildings. One of the most remarkable is the Palenque Aqueduct, a vaulted tunnel that runs directly beneath the main palace. This wasn't just for drainage, it was a pressurized system. By narrowing the channel at the end, they could have created a strong jet of water, possibly for a fountain or as a source of readily available running water for the elite. Think about that pressurized water. Over 1,000 years ago, they also created reservoirs and canals to manage seasonal flooding and ensure a steady water supply during the dry season. This level of hydraulic engineering shows a deep understanding of their environment and a desire to control it, turning a potential challenge into a vital resource that sustained a thriving urban population. The layout of Palenque wasn't random either. It was a carefully planned cityscape, a microcosm of the Maya worldview. The main ceremonial center, with its towering temples and sprawling palace, was aligned with key astronomical events. The Temple of the Cross, the Temple of the Foliated Cross, and the Temple of the Sun form a group that tracks the movement of celestial bodies, connecting the rulers' rituals to the cycles of the heavens. The city's orientation reflects their cosmology, with different sections representing different realms of the spiritual world. Walking through Palenque is like walking through a map of the universe, as the Maya saw it. The placement of each building was deliberate, designed to reinforce the divine authority of the rulers and their connection to the gods. This wasn't just urban planning, it was sacred geography, turning the entire city into a stage 4 royal ceremony and cosmic drama. Now, let's zoom in from the grand structures to the intricate details that give them a voice. In Palenque, history was not written on paper. It was carved in stone. Every wall, every tablet, every column spoke in symbols, a language of power, ritual, and eternity. These are the Maya hieroglyphs, one of the most complex writing systems ever created in the ancient world. With more than 800 unique signs, it's a sophisticated system combining which represent whole words and syllabograms, which represent phonetic sounds. It's like a puzzle where pictures can be words, sounds, or even abstract ideas. Through these inscriptions, the Maya didn't just write, they painted with meaning. They recorded the births of kings, the dates of epic battles, the details of sacred rituals, and the complex genealogies of their royal dynasties. Each symbol was more than a letter. It was a window into the soul of their civilization. allowing us to reconstruct their history with astonishing detail. Unlocking this code was one of the greatest intellectual achievements of the 20th century. For a long time, scholars thought the glyphs were purely symbolic or related only to calendars and astronomy. But starting in the 1950s, epigraphers like Tatiana Proskuryakov and Yuri Norizov made breakthroughs that changed everything. Proskuryakov realized that the dates on the stele corresponded to the birth, accession, and death of rulers, proving they recorded historical events. Norizov argued that the glyphs represented a syllabic system, allowing them to be read phonetically. Together, their work cracked the code. Now, archaeologists and linguists can read these stone texts, transforming our understanding of the Maya from a mysterious, peaceful people into a society of complex political dynasties, complete with alliances, betrayals, and wars. We can now name the kings and queens, hear their titles, and understand the events that shaped their reigns. It's like finding a lost library where every book is a work of art. The most famous of all these stone texts lies deep within the Temple of the Inscriptions. This is more than just a temple. It's the tomb of one of Palenque's greatest rulers, Chiapas or Pakal the Great. Inside the funerary chamber, 9 massive stone panels are covered with over 600 tightly packed glyphs. This is one of the longest known Maya inscriptions ever discovered. It doesn't just record Pakal's life, it's a dynastic history stretching back to centuries, legitimizing his rule by connecting him to his ancestors and the gods. The text details rituals, family trees, and key moments in Palenque's history, solidifying Pakal's place in eternity. It tells us about his mother, Lady Sakkakak, who ruled as queen, and his accession to the throne as a young boy. It's a political document, a historical record, and a sacred text all in one. Reading it is like listening to the voice of Pakal himself, speaking to us across more than a millennium. Beyond the glyphs, the sculpture of Palenque is breathtaking. The artists here worked with a level of naturalism and grace rarely seen in other Maya cities. Instead of stiff, formal portraits, the figures on Palenque's panels and stele are dynamic and full of life. You can see the gentle curve of a wrist, the intricate details of a headdress, and the subtle expressions on their faces. They used a lower-leaf stucco technique, modeling a plaster-like substance over stone armatures, which allowed for incredibly fine and fluid details. The portraits of rulers aren't just symbols of power, they are intimate portrayals of individuals. You can sense their personality, their authority, and their humanity. The famous sarcophagus lid of Pakal is a masterpiece of this art form. It depicts him at the moment of his death, falling into the jaws of the underworld, but also being reborn as the mazed god. The scene is incredibly complex, filled with cosmic symbolism. The world tree, the celestial bird, and the jaws of the underworld monster. It's a powerful statement about death, rebirth, and the divine nature of kingship, all captured in a single, stunning image. So, how do we piece it all together? How does a carving on a wall become a chapter in a history book? It's a meticulous process of detective work. An archaeologist might first uncover a tablet. Then, an epigrapher begins the painstaking work of transcribing and translating the glyphs. They identify names, dates from the Maya long count calendar, and key events. For example, a glyph showing a star over shell event often signifies warfare. The name of a king might be followed by the emblem glyph of his city. By cross-referencing these details with inscriptions from other sites, a web of relationships emerges. We can track when Palenque was at war with a rival city like Calakmul, or when a marriage created a powerful alliance. The art provides context. The depiction of a captive from another city confirms a successful battle mentioned in the text. The clothing and regalia worn by a king in a sculpture match the titles described in the glyphs. It's a synergy between art, text, and archaeology. Each discovery adds another piece to the puzzle, gradually revealing the rich, vibrant, and often turbulent history of the Maya world. A history written, not with ink, but with chisel and stone. The legacy of Palenque is a profound reminder of human ingenuity and our innate desire to leave a mark. It challenges our perceptions of ancient civilizations, revealing a society with advanced engineering, sophisticated art, and a fully developed writing system. The voices in stone from Palenque continue to speak to us, telling stories of a world that is both lost and, thanks to these remarkable records, forever preserved. The work is far from over. New discoveries are still being made, and each one adds more depth to our understanding. What other secrets does the jungle hold? What other stories are waiting to be told? As the sun rises over Chiapas, its first rays touch the ancient stones of Palenque, revealing a city designed not just to exist, but to breathe in harmony with nature. Nestled amidst the lush, green jungle, this wasn't just another settlement. It was a masterpiece of human ingenuity. Palenque was unlike any other Maya city. Its builders didn't just conquer the landscape, they collaborated with it. They mastered the flow of water, the movement of air, and the very rhythm of light. Imagine living in a place where the entire city was engineered to be a living, breathing entity. That was the reality for the people of Palenque. Archaeologists have uncovered a complex and sophisticated hydraulic system, here intricate stone channels and aqueducts that, incredibly, still guide water through the ruins today. In a region known for its heavy rains and dense tropical humidity. This wasn't a luxury. It was pure engineering genius. A solution that ensured the city's survival and prosperity against the forces of nature. Beneath the grand plazas and towering pyramids, a hidden world existed, a network of underground tunnels known as corbel-vaulted aqueducts. Crisscross the city, these weren't just for drainage. They were a primitive form of air conditioning, cooling the buildings above and making life more comfortable in the sweltering jungle heat. They also drained the sprawling courtyards after downpours and fed sacred pools where vital rituals took place. This intricate relationship with water has led some historians to affectionately call Palenque the Venice of the Maya world, a city built upon and sustained by its masterful control of water. At the very heart of this remarkable city stands the palace, a sprawling and labyrinthine complex of courtyards, grand stairways, and mysterious galleries. It wasn't built in a single go. It was expanded and rebuilt over many centuries, with each ruler adding their own layer to its history. Its walls, adorned with intricate stucco reliefs and hieroglyphic inscriptions, tell a story of dynastic power, sacred ceremony, and profound scientific knowledge. Walking through its corridors, you can almost feel the echoes of the past, the whispers of kings and priests who once called this magnificent structure home. Rising elegantly above the palace complex is a unique four-story structure known as the Tower. At over 15 meters high, it offers a commanding view of the entire city and the surrounding landscape, but its purpose was likely far more than just observation. Many believe it served as a crucial astronomical observatory. From this vantage point, Maya priests and astronomers could track the sun's passage across the sky, marking the solstices and equinoxes with pinpoint accuracy. This allowed them to perfectly align the city's agricultural cycles and religious rituals with the celestial calendar, ensuring that life on Earth remained in perfect, sacred balance with the cosmos. It was a testament to their belief that the heavens and the earth were inextricably linked. The story of Palenque's golden age is inseparable from its most famous ruler, Kainich Hanabe, or Pakal the Grey. He ascended to the throne in 615 AD, not as a seasoned warrior, but as a mere boy of 12. The city was in a state of disarray, having suffered devastating attacks from rivals. Yet, from this point of crisis, Pakal would launch one of the most ambitious and transformative building programs in Maya history. During his incredibly long reign of 68 years, he didn't just rebuild Palenque, he redefined it. He commissioned the expansion of the palace and initiated the construction of some of the city's most iconic monuments. Under his leadership, Palenque was reborn, blossoming into a vibrant center of art, architecture, and political power. Perhaps Pakal's most enduring legacy is his own tomb, the Temple of the Inscriptions. This magnificent pyramid is not just an architectural marvel, it's a stone-carved history book. The temple gets its name from 3 large panels inside, covered with one of the longest hieroglyphic texts ever found from the Maya world. These inscriptions meticulously detailed 180 years of Palenque's dynastic history, connecting Pakal's reign to his ancestors and solidifying his divine right to rule. It was a powerful statement of legitimacy and a gift to future generations, ensuring that his story and the story of his city would never be forgotten. For centuries, The Temple of the Inscriptions held a secret. In 1952, the archaeologist Alberto Ruiz Lulier noticed something strange about the floor of the temple. After months of painstaking work, his team lifted a stone slab to reveal a hidden staircase, filled with rubble, leading deep into the heart of the pyramid. Following this passage down, they eventually uncovered what had been sealed for over 1,000 years, the magnificent tomb of Fakal the Great. The discovery was revolutionary. It proved that Maya pyramids, much like their Egyptian counterparts, could serve as funerary monuments for their most powerful rulers. Inside the burial chamber, Pakal's remains lay within a massive, intricately carved sarcophagus, and on his face was a breathtaking death mask, crafted from hundreds of pieces of precious jade. But the most famous artifact is the sarcophagus lid itself. Its carving is one of the most debated and iconic images in Maya art. It depicts Pakal at the moment of his death, poised between the earthly realm and the underworld. He is shown falling into the jaws of a celestial monster, yet simultaneously being reborn, ascending the world tree towards the heavens. It's a powerful and complex depiction of death, rebirth, and the cyclical nature of existence, central to Maya cosmology. This single piece of art encapsulates the profound spiritual beliefs that animated Palenque and its people. After Pakal's long and prosperous reign, his son, Kenich Kanbalam II, continued his father's legacy. He was responsible for commissioning another set of architectural masterpieces known as the Cross. This trio of temples, the Temple of the Cross, the Temple of the Foliated Cross, and the Temple of the Sun, stand on elevated plazas, framing a central courtyard. Each temple is dedicated to one of the city's 3 patron deities and contains intricate panels that legitimize Kanbalem's rule by linking him directly to the gods and his divine father, Pakal. The art and architecture of this period showcase Palenque at the absolute zenith of its cultural and artistic achievement. However, like all great civilizations, Palenque's golden age could not last forever. By the late 8th century, the inscriptions begin to falter. The last known recorded date in the city is 799 AD. What followed is a mystery that shrouds many Maya cities. There's no evidence of a violent conquest or a single catastrophic event. Instead, it seems Palenque suffered a gradual decline. The population dwindled, construction halted, and slowly, inexorably, the jungle began its patient work of reclaiming the stone city. Theories for this collapse range from prolonged warfare and environmental degradation to disease and the breakdown of trade routes. Whatever the cause being of Asientozad, the great city of the sky and water was all but abandoned, its palaces and temples left to the silence of the forest. Today, what we see at Palenque is only a fraction of the original city. It's estimated that less than 10% of this vast urban center has been excavated, with over 1,000 structures still lying hidden beneath the dense jungle canopy. Every year, archaeologists continue to uncover new secrets, piecing together the story of this incredible civilization. Palenque is not just a ruin, it is a living archaeological site, a puzzle that is still being solved. It stands as a powerful reminder of the genius of the Maya people, their deep understanding of the cosmos, their unparalleled artistic skill, and their extraordinary ability to build a world in perfect balance with nature. It's a city that, even in its silence, has so much more to teach us. Deep in the heart of southern Mexico, wrapped in the endless green of the Chiapas rainforest, lies a forgotten city, Palenque, a jewel of the ancient Maya world, lost 4 centuries beneath a shroud of vines, rain, and silence. This is the story of its rise, its glory, and its long, quiet sleep. Imagine, if you will, a time more than 2,000 years ago. Around 226 BC, the first settlers chose this lush landscape, building small villages near the foothills of the mighty Usumacinta River. These were humble beginnings, a modest community nestled in the jungle. But from these simple roots, one of the most powerful and artistically advanced cities of the classic Maya era would eventually grow, a testament to human ingenuity and vision. Palenque wasn't just a collection of buildings, it was a living monument to time, art, and cosmic order. Every stone was placed with breathtaking precision. Every intricate carving told a story of gods, of kings, and of the delicate balance that held the universe together. The air here, even today, feels thick with history, each surface whispering tales of a civilization that saw the world in a profoundly different way. Unlike the vast, flat limestone plains of the Yucatan Peninsula, Palenque rose against steep mountain slopes. Its architects didn't fight the jungle, they worked with it. The city's temples and palaces were meticulously aligned with the movements of the sun, the moon, and the stars. They built a city in perfect harmony with nature, guided by celestial rhythms and sacred mathematics, creating a sacred geography where the human and divine worlds met. The city's golden age arrived between 500 and 700 AD, a period of unparalleled growth and artistic flourishing. This era was defined by one of its most legendary rulers, Skyinish, Janab Pakal I, better known to history as Pakal the Great. His reign was a renaissance for Palenque. Under his command, the city was transformed. Grand temples pierced the jungle canopy, sophisticated aqueducts channeled the abundant rainfall, and sprawling palaces became centers of power and ceremony. Palenque shone like a stone crown amid the emerald rainforest, its influence spreading far and wide. At the very heart of this splendor stands the Temple of the Inscriptions. Rising over 25 meters high, it is more than just a pyramid. It is a library of history, its pillars covered in one of the longest hieroglyphic texts ever discovered from the Maya world. But its greatest secret lay hidden deep within. For more than 1,200 years, a sealed chamber remained untouched, waiting to be found. This single artifact has given us an unparalleled window into Maya cosmology, their beliefs about life, death, and rebirth. It's not just a tomb. It's a story of a journey through the cosmos. But Palenque's story is not just one of glory. It is also one of mystery. Long before modern explorers stumbled upon its wonders, the city had already fallen silent. By the end of the 8th century, something changed. The inscriptions stopped. The rulers vanished. The great plazas fell empty. The reasons remain a subject of intense debate among scholars. Was it warfare? Environmental collapse? Political turmoil? Perhaps a combination of all three. Whatever the cause, the jungle began its slow, relentless reclamation. Roots, like powerful fingers, split the stones. Rain and humidity erased the painted stucco. The roads disappeared, and the city became a memory. A legend whispered only by the rustling leaves and the calls of howler monkeys. For more than 1,000 years, Palenque slept a dream of civilization hidden under a dense green canopy. It wasn't until the 18th century that Spanish explorers began to document the ruins, followed by waves of artists, adventurers, and archaeologists, each one peeling back another layer of its forgotten history. They brought Palenque back into the light, stone by stone, inscription by inscription. Yet even now, what we see is just a fraction of its former grandeur. It is estimated that more than 80% of Palenque remains buried, still hidden beneath the earth and jungle. Every year, new discoveries are made, revealing more about the lives of the people who called this magical place home. The city we can walk through today is only a fragment of its ancient soul, a beautiful, haunting glimpse into a world that is still, in many ways, lost to us. The story of Palenque is a powerful reminder of the cycles of history, of the rise and fall of great civilizations, and of the enduring power of nature. It has a place that challenges our understanding of the past and inspires us to keep searching for the secrets that still lie buried. But every story has a climax and a denouement, every empire a peak and a decline. So, what happened to this jewel of the jungle? How did a city that shone so brightly eventually fade into obscurity, only to be swallowed by the very nature it had tamed? This text provides an incredible window into the religious rituals and political maneuvering of the time. The city was still a powerhouse, its influence radiating through the Usumacinta River basin. Artistry flourished, astronomy was refined, and the population thrived. Looking at the city during this period, you would have seen bustling plazas, brightly painted temple pyramids piercing the jungle canopy, and a society confident in its power and its place in the cosmos. The rulers after him continued this tradition of construction and commemoration, leaving behind their own legacies carved in stone. For nearly a century after Pakal's death, Palenque seemed invincible. But even the mightiest trees can fall. As the 8th century drew to a close and the 9th began, whispers of trouble started to echo through the stone corridors. The engine of the Mayan world was beginning to sputter, and Palenque was not immune. The last known dated inscription at Palenque was carved in 799 AD. It commemorates the accession of a ruler named Wakimi Hanab Pagal, or Janab Pagal III. After this date, the historical record carved in stone goes silent. What followed was not a single, catastrophic event, but a slow, creeping decline, a complex unraveling of the society that had thrived here for centuries. Scholars point to a combination of factors, a perfect storm that battered not just Palenque, but the entire southern Maya lowlands. One of the primary culprits was environmental strain. Centuries of intensive agriculture, necessary to feed a large urban population, had begun to take its toll. Deforestation led to soil erosion and may have altered local rainfall patterns, making the land less productive. Imagine the pressure on the rulers. They were seen as intermediaries with the gods, responsible for ensuring the rains came and the maize grew. When the harvests started to fail, faith in their authority would have begun to crumble. Compounding these environmental woes was escalating warfare. The late Classic period was marked by increased conflict between Mayan cities. While Palenque had known its share of battles in the past, the conflicts of the 9th century seemed to have been more widespread and destructive. Cities were no longer just vying for tribute or captives. They were fighting for survival over dwindling resources. This endemic warfare disrupted trade routes that were the lifeblood of cities like Palenque, cutting them off from essential goods like salt, obsidian, and jade. The intricate web of alliances and commerce that had sustained the Mayan world was tearing apart, leaving individual cities isolated and vulnerable. We also see evidence of internal strife. The elaborate inscriptions celebrating the divine power of kings disappear. Instead, later constructions are smaller, less refined, suggesting a depletion of resources and skilled labor. This could indicate a breakdown in the social hierarchy. The elite, who had commanded the loyalty and labor of the common people for generations, may have lost their grip. Were there peasant revolts? Did the populace simply lose faith in a system that could no longer provide for them? The silence of the stones leaves us to speculate. But the archaeological evidence points to a society under immense stress from all sides, from the soil beneath their feet to the neighboring cities on the horizon. With its political authorities shattered, its trade routes severed, and its environment failing, Palenque began to empty out. This wasn't a sudden, panicked exodus like in a disaster movie. It was a gradual abandonment, a slow bleeding of its population over decades. Families, perhaps villages at a time, would have packed what they could and moved on, seeking more fertile lands and more stable communities, likely heading north into the Yucatan Peninsula where new Mayan cities were beginning to flourish. The great plazas fell silent. The temples, once centers of vibrant ceremony, were left to the gods and the ghosts of the past. The royal palace, which had once echoed with the pronouncements of kings and the footsteps of nobles, became an empty shell. And then the jungle returned. Slowly but relentlessly, nature began its work of reclamation. Vines snaked their way up the pyramids, their tendrils prying apart the masterfully laid stones. Tree roots, powerful as giants' fingers, buckled the floors of palaces and pushed over walls. A thick green blanket of vegetation covered the pyramids, transforming them into strange, geometric hills. For 1,000 years, Palenque slept its grandeur hidden, its story forgotten by the outside world. It became a rumor, a lost city whispered about by local Lacan and Maya, who still revered the sacred site. The story of Palenque's decline is a powerful reminder that no civilization, no matter how advanced or powerful, is permanent. It teaches us about the delicate balance between human society and its environment, and the cascading effects that can occur when that balance is broken. The empty temples and silent causeways are not just ruins. They are a profound lesson written in stone. They tell a story of incredible achievement, of artistic genius and intellectual curiosity, but also of fragility and the relentless passage of time. The fall of Palenque wasn't just an end, it was a transformation, from a living city to a timeless monument, waiting patiently in the jungle to share its secrets with the future. We're not just visiting ruins, we're stepping into the heart of a lost world, into the magnificent city of Palenque, a jewel of the Maya civilization nestled deep within the jungles of Chiapas, Mexico. What secrets do these ancient stones hold? How did a society, without metal tools or the wheel, construct such breathtaking masterpieces? Join us as we uncover the architectural genius and the voices in stone that still echo through these sacred grounds. Imagine the scene nearly 1,500 years ago. This wasn't a silent ruin, but a bustling, vibrant metropolis, the air filled with the sounds of construction, of chisels striking limestone, and the murmur of a powerful society. The architects of Palenque were masters of their environment. They didn't fight the jungle, they worked with it. They terraced the hillsides, creating level platforms upon which to build their monumental structures, ensuring stability against the heavy rains and the shifting earth. Look at the Temple of the Inscriptions, Palenque's most iconic structure. It's not just a building, it's an artificial mountain, a testament to engineering prowess. Its 9 levels are thought to represent the 9 levels of the Maya underworld. The builders used a technique known as corbel vaulting to create the inner chambers. Instead of a true arch, they layered stones progressively closer together until they met at the top, creating a strong, triangular opening. This method defined the interior spaces of Maya architecture, giving them their distinctive, narrow, and high-ceilinged feel. The sheer precision required to balance these tons of stone is But how did they manage water in a region known for its intense, rainy season? The answer lies beneath our feet. Palenque is famous for its sophisticated water management system, a network of subterranean aqueducts built with remarkable skill, channeled the Otolam River and other streams directly underneath the city's main plaza. This wasn't just for drainage. These channels provided fresh water to the city's inhabitants and were even designed with features to manage water pressure. In 2016, archaeologists discovered a spring-fed canal system beneath the Temple of the Inscriptions itself, suggesting a symbolic connection between the ruler's tomb and the watery underworld. It was engineering as a form of sacred geography. The city's layout itself is a masterpiece of urban planning. It's not a random collection of buildings. The main structures are organized around a central axis, aligned with key astronomical events like the winter solstice sunset. The palace, a sprawling complex of courtyards, galleries, and residential quarters, sits at the heart of the city. Its most distinctive feature is the 4-story observation tower. From here, priests and rulers could track the movements of the sun, moon, and planets, vital for their calendar, agricultural cycles, and religious rituals. The architecture was a clock, a calendar, and a conduit to the cosmos, all carved from stone. Now, let's get closer. In Palenque, history was not written on paper, it was carved in stone. Every wall, every tablet, every column spoke in symbols, a language of power, ritual, and eternity. These are the Maya hieroglyphs, one of the most complex writing systems ever created in the ancient world. With more than 800 unique signs, they combine logograms, which represent whole words, and syllabograms, which represent phonetic sounds. Think of it as a sophisticated puzzle, part picture, part sound. Cracking this code in the mid-20th century was one of the greatest intellectual breakthroughs of our time, allowing these silent stones to finally tell their stories. Through these inscriptions, the Maya recorded the lives of their divine kings, or Kawalaja. They documented births, accession to the throne, royal marriages that forged alliances, pivotal battles, and the sacred rituals they performed to maintain cosmic order. Each symbol was more than a letter. It was a window into the civilization's soul. We learned their names, their dates of rule, and even their family histories. For example, inscriptions tell us about the great ruler Kayanish Janab Pakal, or Pakal the Great, who ascended the throne as a boy and ruled for an astonishing 68 years, overseeing much of Palenque's golden age. The most famous of all these stories lies within the Temple of the Inscriptions. The name is literal. Inside, on the walls of the upper temple, are 3 massive limestone panels. Together, they contain one of the longest known Maya inscriptions, a total of 617 glyphs. They form a detailed history stretching over 2 centuries, detailing the dynastic line of Palenque and placing Palenque's reign within this grand cosmic and historical context. For years, this was thought to be the temple's only secret, but in 1952, the Mexican archaeologist Alberto Ruiz Lulia noticed something unique about a stone slab in the temple's floor. It had holes drilled into it, as if for lifting. After 4 long seasons of clearing rubble from a hidden stairway, his team broke through into a sealed chamber deep within the pyramid. There, they found the sarcophagus of Palenque, the great himself. The lid, a 5-ton slab of intricately carved stone, is one of the most famous pieces of Maya art. It depicts Pacal at the moment of his death, falling into the jaws of the underworld, yet simultaneously being reborn as a maize god, poised on the world tree. It's a powerful statement about death, rebirth, and the divine nature of kingship. This discovery was revolutionary. It proved that some Maya pyramids, like their Egyptian counterparts, were funerary monuments for great rulers. The artistry wasn't limited to grand tombs. The sculptures of Palenque are renowned for their naturalism and elegance. Unlike the more rigid styles of other Maya cities, Palenque's artists used thin-grained limestone and stucco to create remarkably lifelike portraits of their rulers and gods. You can see the delicate curve of a nose, the subtle expression on a face, the intricate details of a headdress. These weren't generic figures. They were individuals. In Chiapas, you can find stunning stucco portraits and relief panels depicting scenes of courtly life, a ruler receiving tribute, or captives from a recent battle. These sculptures served as powerful propaganda, reinforcing the ruler's authority and divine connection. The artists of Palenque didn't just carve history, they brought it to life. We now know that these stark white ruins were once painted in vibrant colors. Imagine these reliefs in brilliant reds, blues, and yellows, gleaming under the tropical sun. The city would have been a dazzling spectacle of color and form, a true testament to the wealth and power of its rulers. The hieroglyphs themselves were often painted, making them stand out against the stone, ensuring their message was seen and understood. From the grand engineering of their aqueducts and pyramids, to the intimate details carved into a single glyph. The people of Palenque created a city that was both a practical home and a sacred landscape. Their architecture was aligned with the stars. Their writing was a divine art, and their sculptures immortalized their kings. They left us a library of stone, a detailed record of their world, their beliefs, and their place in the cosmos. Walking through Palenque today, you can't help but feel the presence of this incredible civilization. The stones truly speak, telling us stories of power, ingenuity, and the enduring human quest for eternity. Have you ever heard of a city built to breathe? A city where stone and water, light and shadow, dance in perfect harmony. We journeyed to the heart of the Chiapas jungle in Mexico, to the magnificent ruins of Palenque, a jewel of the Maya civilization. As the sun's first rays kissed the ancient stones, we see a city that was more than just a collection of buildings. Palenque was a living organism, a masterpiece of urban design deeply connected to the natural world. Its builders were not just architects, they were masters of the elements. One of the most astonishing features of Palenque is its sophisticated water management. In a region battered by tropical downpours, controlling water was a matter of survival. The people of Palenque didn't just survive, they thrived. Archaeologists have uncovered an intricate network of stone aqueducts, canals, and underground tunnels. These weren't just for drainage, they were the city's veins. This system channeled fresh water throughout the city, fed sacred ritual pools, and even helped to cool the buildings naturally. Imagine a city with pressurized water systems over 1,000 years ago. This engineering prowess has led some to call Palenque the Venice of the Maya world. But this story isn't just about water. It's about a king whose vision transformed this city into an immortal legacy. His name was Kainish Janab Pacal, or Pacal the Great. He ascended to the throne in the year 615 AD at the tender age of 12 and ruled for an incredible 68 years, one of the longest reigns in world history. Under his guidance, Palenque entered its golden age. Pacal was a visionary builder. He commissioned some of the most elegant and complex structures in the entire Maya world. His palace, a sprawling complex of courtyards, galleries, and residential quarters, is a testament to his ambition. It features a unique 4-story observation tower, likely used by royal astronomers to chart the movements of the stars and planets, which were central to Maya cosmology and daily life. The palace walls are adorned with stunning stucco reliefs and intricate carvings, telling stories of royal lineage, divine power, and cosmic events. But Pekal's ultimate architectural achievement, the monument that would secure his place in history, was his own tomb. The Temple of the Inscriptions, this majestic step pyramid, stands as a silent guardian over the city. For centuries, it was believed to be just another temple, its purpose purely ceremonial. The temple gets its name from 3 large stone panels inside, which contain one of the longest hieroglyphic texts ever found from the Maya civilization. This text chronicles over 180 years of Palenque's history, detailing the city's dynastic line and Pekal's own divine ancestry. It was a message carved in stone, meant to last for eternity. For a long time, scholars believed that Maya pyramids were simply temple platforms. Unlike the Egyptian pyramids, which served as tombs, their tombs were not just burial places, but portals to the afterlife, carefully constructed to ensure their successful journey and resurrection. Palenque's story doesn't end with Pakal. His sons continued his legacy, adding more magnificent temples and structures to the city, like the cross-group temples, dedicated to celebrating the accession of his son. These temples are aligned with celestial events and contain further inscriptions that deepen our knowledge of Maya mythology and history. Yet, like many other great Maya cities of the southern lowlands, Palenque was mysteriously abandoned around the 9th century AD. The reasons are still debated by scholars, perhaps warfare, environmental change, or social upheaval. The jungle slowly reclaimed the city, and its stone palaces and pyramids slept beneath a blanket of green for nearly 1,000 years. Today, Palenque is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a window into a lost world of cosmic kings, brilliant engineers, and masterful artists. As we walk through its plazas and climb its pyramids, we're not just looking at ruins. We're reading a story written in stone. A story of a city that mastered the flow of water and a king who conquered death itself. The spirit of Pakal and his people still lingers here, in the whisper of the wind through the temples and the murmur of water in the ancient canals. His reign, spanning an incredible 68 years, transformed Palenque from a regional power into a beacon of art and science, leaving a legacy carved in stone that still inspires awe today. Pakal ascended to the throne in 615 AD, inheriting a city that had suffered from foreign invasions. But under his visionary leadership, Palenque rose from the ashes. He initiated an ambitious building program that would define the city's skyline and secure its place in history. His architectural achievements were not just about power, they were a profound expression of the Maya worldview, a cosmic blueprint designed to align the earthly realm with the celestial. The most iconic monument of his era is, without a doubt, the Temple of the Inscriptions. It's more than just a temple. It's a dynastic shrine, a historical record, and a monumental tomb. Standing majestically at the city's core, its 9 levels are thought to represent the 9 levels of Xibalba, the Maya underworld. The temple's name comes from the 3 massive stone tablets found within, which contain one of the longest hieroglyphic texts ever discovered from the ancient Maya, detailing over 180 years of Palenque's history. For centuries, this temple was believed to be just a ceremonial center. Its greatest secret lay hidden, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. It was an archaeological discovery on par with Tutankhamun's tomb in Egypt. It proved that, like the pharaohs, some Maya rulers built their pyramids as grand burial monuments, gateways to the afterlife. The tomb of Pakal was not just a resting place. It was a machine for resurrection, a sacred portal designed to ensure his eternal journey through the cosmos. Now, let's step out from the temple and into the heart of civic life. At the heart of Palenque stands the palace, a vast labyrinth of courtyards, stairways, and observation towers. It wasn't built all at once. Instead, it was constructed and renovated over several centuries, with each ruler adding their own chapter to its stone story. This complex wasn't just a royal residence, It was the administrative and ceremonial nucleus of the city. Its walls tell a story of power, ritual, and a deep understanding of the natural world. Rising over 15 meters above the complex is the distinctive palace tower. Archaeologists believe this four-story structure may have served as a watchtower and, more importantly, an astronomical observatory. From this vantage point, Maya priests and astronomers could track the sun's passage across the sky, marking the solstices and equinoxes. This knowledge was crucial. It allowed them to align the city's agricultural cycles and religious ceremonies with the cosmic clock, ensuring that life on Earth remained in perfect harmony with the heavens. Beyond the palace, Palenque's engineering prowess is evident in its sophisticated water management systems. The city is built over numerous streams, including the Odlum River. Instead of fighting the water, the Maya channeled it. They constructed elaborate subterranean aqueducts, vaulted with stone, to manage the flow of water through the city's central plaza. This not only prevented flooding during the intense rainy season, but also provided pressurized water to different parts of the city, an incredible feat of hydraulic engineering for its time. To the east of the main plaza stands the majestic cross-group complex. This is a trio of temples: the Temple of the Cross, the Temple of the Foliated Cross, and the Temple of the Sun. Each is built on a raised platform and dedicated to the patron gods of Palenque, the Palenque Triad. They were commissioned by Pekol's son, Kenbalam, to legitimize his own rule and honor his father. Each temple faces the rising sun, a powerful symbol of the daily journey from darkness to light, from death to rebirth. As you get closer, you see that the walls of these temples are covered with some of the finest and most intricate carvings in the entire Maya world. They depict cosmic trees, celestial serpents, and rulers adorned in divine regalia, performing sacred rituals. But this is not just art for art's sake. Look closer, and you'll see the precision of mathematics, the sacred geometry that governs the space. Every stair, every doorway, every platform is carefully measured and aligned, reflecting the Maya understanding of a structured, ordered universal world measured not just by human hands, but by the movement of the stars. What we see today is astonishing, but it's only the tip of the iceberg. Modern techniques like LiDAR, which can digitally remove the jungle canopy, have revealed that Palenque once stretched over a vast area, far larger than the cleared archaeological park. We now know that more than 1,400 structures remain hidden, buried beneath the relentless green of the rainforest. The visible ruin-style grand temples, the sprawling palace. The ball courts represent only a small fraction of what was once a bustling metropolis of tens of thousands of people. Even in its partially uncovered state, Palenque stands as one of the most sophisticated and beautiful cities of the ancient world. It is a place where art, astronomy, and architecture merged into a single, breathtaking vision. The Maya dream of creating a living connection between the heavens, the earth, and the underworld. Here in the limestone hills of Chiapas, the Maya built more than just a city. They built a message carved in stone, shaped by water, and aligned with eternity. A message that continues to speak to us across the centuries, to a place where stone speaks and history is etched into the very fabric of the jungle. The magnificent city of Palenque. This isn't just a collection of ruins, it's a library carved from limestone, a testament to a civilization that mastered both art and science. Our story begins with the silent storytellers of Palenque, the intricate sculptures and inscriptions that adorn its temples and palaces. These are not mere decorations, they are hieroglyphs, a complex writing system that, for centuries, held its secrets close. Imagine standing here, surrounded by these symbols, knowing they contained the sagas of kings and the wisdom of astronomers, yet unable to decipher a single word. It was a puzzle that tantalized historians for generations. Look closely at these carvings. They tell us about the fundamental division of Maya life, the sacred and the secular. Here, in the grand temples, we see depictions of elaborate rituals, priests communing with deities, and cosmic events mapped onto stone calendars. These were the centers of spiritual power, where the Maya connected with the forces that governed their world. The very air here feels different, charged with the energy of countless ceremonies performed under the watchful eyes of their gods. But just a stone's throw away, the palaces reveal a different story. The inscriptions here shift from the divine to the dynastic. They speak of royal succession, political alliances, and the daily affairs of the court. We learn about the rulers who walked these halls, their families, their triumphs, and their struggles. It's a vivid account of human life, of power and legacy, written for eternity. This duality, the temple versus the palace, the ritual versus the routine, shows us a society that was deeply spiritual, yet firmly grounded in the realities of governance and family. Here is a glyph for his mother, Lady Sake UK, a powerful ruler in her own right who governed before he came of age. And here, the glyphs for his sons, who would continue his legacy and ensure Palenque's prominence. Through these symbols, the Maya gave their kings a voice, ensuring their names would echo through the ages, long after the jungle began its patient reclamation of their grand city. For a long time, these voices were silent. As we move through these shadowed hallways, you can almost feel the weight of that silence. After the fall of the Maya civilization, their script became an enigma. To early explorers and scholars, the glyphs were beautiful, mysterious art, but their meaning was lost. They were seen, but not heard. It was as if an entire library had been locked and the key thrown away. The breakthrough came in the mid-20th century. A new generation of linguists and epigraphers, armed with new techniques and a relentless passion, began to unlock the code. People like Tatiana Priskuryakov and Yuri Norozov made revolutionary discoveries, proving that the glyphs were not just abstract symbols, but a true phonetic and logographic writing system. It was like finding the Rosetta Stone for the Americas. Suddenly, the stones of Palenque began to speak again. Today, thanks to decades of tireless study, we can finally hear the Maya people speaking to us across a gulf of 1,000 years. And what do they tell us? Their words reveal not just myths and legends, but real, complex human beings. We read the histories of rulers and the biographies of builders. We follow the calculations of astronomers who tracked the movements of Venus with breathtaking accuracy. We learned the names of the priests who watched the sky and measured the sacred rhythm of existence. Every single glyph, every intricate carving on these temple walls, was a deliberate act of preservation. It was a message in a bottle, cast into the river of time, left for those who they hoped would one day return to listen. They were building a bridge of memory, ensuring that their civilization would not be forgotten. As dawn breaks over the Temple of the Inscriptions, its rays illuminating the face of this ancient wonder, we are reminded of the power of that memory. They tell a profound story of resilience, of a culture that believed so deeply in its own legacy that it inscribed it into the earth itself. They teach us that memory can be stronger than time, and that even in the deepest silence, civilization endures. We're diving deep into the intricate web of politics, power, and eventual silence that surrounds the great city of Palenque. Palenque wasn't an isolated kingdom hidden in the jungle. It was a major player on the geopolitical stage of the Maya lowlands, a hub of trade, diplomacy, and, yes, intense conflict. Imagine a complex network of roads and river routes, bustling with traders carrying precious goods like jade, obsidian, and exotic feathers. These trade routes were the lifeblood of the Maya world, and controlling them meant wealth and influence. Palenque, strategically located at the edge of the mountains and the plains, was in a prime position. Its relationships with other city-states were a constant dance of alliance and rivalry. To the east, the mighty city of Tikal was a frequent partner. We see evidence of this in their shared artistic styles and architectural motifs. Think of it like a cultural exchange program, but with stone monuments and royal marriages. These alliances were crucial for mutual defense and economic prosperity. Marrying a prince or a princess from an allied city wasn't just a personal affair. It was a political statement that solidified bonds and created powerful dynasties. But where there are friends, there are often enemies. Palenque's most persistent and bitter rival was Calakamel, the head of the powerful Khan, or Snake, dynasty. For centuries, these two superpowers vied for dominance, their conflict echoing across the entire Maya region. It was a Cold War, Maya steel, that often erupted into fiery, real-world battles. Inscriptions at Palenque tell of raids and skirmishes, of captured lords and triumphant warriors. One of the most dramatic conflicts occurred early in the 7th century, when Calacamo's forces sacked Palenque, leaving a trail of destruction. The city was almost wiped from the map. The monuments were defaced, The sacred buildings burned. It was a devastating blow, a moment of profound crises. But it was from these very ashes that Palenque would rise to its greatest heights. The city's resilience was personified in its most famous ruler, Kanich Janab Pakal, or Pakal the Great, who ascended the throne just a few years after this disaster. We'll talk more about him soon. But his long and prosperous reign was a direct response to this period of conflict, a declaration that Palenque would not be broken. Under Pakal and his successors, Palenque entered its golden age during the late Classic period. From about 600 to 800 AD, the city transformed. The architecture became more refined, more elegant than almost anywhere else in the Maya world. Think of the palace, with its intricate courtyards, subterranean galleries, and the iconic four-story tower. This wasn't just a home for the king. It was a sprawling administrative center, a place for ritual, and a stage for the theater of power. The art of this era is simply breathtaking. The sculptors of Palenque mastered a naturalistic and graceful style, carving delicate stucco portraits and detailed narrative panels that bring the city's history to life. They didn't just carve gods and symbols, they carved people, with real emotions etched onto their faces. You can feel the humanity in their work, a connection across 1,000 years. This was Palenque's peak, a period of unparalleled artistic and intellectual achievement. The city was a beacon of culture, its influence spreading far and wide. As we move into the late 8th and early 9th centuries, the inscriptions at Palenque start to thin out. The last known recorded date in the city is around 800 AD. After that, silence. Construction stops. The decline of Palenque is part of a wider phenomenon known as the classic Maya collapse, where dozens of cities in the southern lowlands were abandoned over a period of about 100 years. There isn't a single simple answer. It was likely a perfect storm of multiple factors. One major theory points to environmental strain. Centuries of intensive agriculture, needed to feed a growing population, may have exhausted the soil and led to deforestation. This, in turn, could have made the region more vulnerable to prolonged droughts, which we know from climate data occurred during this period. When the rains fail and the corn withers, a society built on agricultural surplus begins to crumble. Endemic warfare also played a huge role. The constant conflict between cities like Palenque, Tikal, and Calakmul took a heavy toll, draining resources and manpower. As the environment became more stressed, competition for scarce resources like water and good farmland would have become even more intense, sparking more wars in a vicious cycle. The authority of the divine kings, who were supposed to guarantee prosperity and mediate with the gods, would have been severely undermined when they could no longer deliver. We also see evidence of trade routes shifting. As coastal sea trade grew in importance, inland centers like Palenque may have been bypassed, losing their economic relevance. Power and wealth started moving to new cities in the northern Yucatan, like Chichen Itza and Uxmal, which began to flourish as Palenque and its neighbors faded. So, the people of Palenque didn't just vanish. It wasn't a sudden apocalypse. It was a gradual process of abandonment, faced with drought, famine, and political instability. Families and communities likely packed up and moved away, seeking better opportunities elsewhere, perhaps migrating north or dispersing into smaller, more sustainable villages in the countryside. The jungle, always waiting at the city's edge, slowly began to reclaim the temples and palaces. Vines crept over the carved stones, and roots pushed through the plaster floors. Within a few generations, a city that was once home to thousands became a ghost town, swallowed by the green embrace of the rainforest. The silence of Palenque is a powerful reminder of the fragility of civilization. In the heart of southern Mexico, wrapped in the endless green of the Chiapas jungle, lies a forgotten city. For centuries, it was a whisper in the rainforest, a secret kept by vines, mist, and silence. Here, near the foothills of the Usumacinta River, the first settlers built small, unassuming villages. But what started as a modest community was destined for greatness. Over centuries, these humble beginnings would blossom into one of the most powerful and artistically advanced cities of the entire classic Maya era. It grew from a simple settlement into a thriving metropolis, a center of culture, power, and sacred knowledge. Palenque was not just a city of stone and mortar. It was a living monument, a testament to time, art, and cosmic order. Every single stone was placed with intention. Every structure aligned with a purpose far beyond the merely functional. Look closely at these carvings. They're not just decoration. They are a language, a history book etched in limestone. They speak of powerful gods, of dynastic kings, and of the delicate cosmic balance that governed every aspect of Mayan life. The city was a canvas where humanity's relationship with the divine was painted for all to see. What makes Palenque truly unique is its setting. Unlike the sprawling cities built on the flat limestone plains of the Yucatan, Palenque rose against the dramatic backdrop of mountain slopes. This wasn't a city that conquered nature. It was a city built in harmony with it. Its architects were masters of their environment, aligning temples and palaces with the movements of the sun, the moon, and the stars. They were guided by celestial rhythms and sacred mathematics, creating an urban landscape that felt like a natural extension of the jungle itself, a perfect fusion of human ingenuity and the wild heart of the rainforest. The golden age of Palenque, a period of unparalleled growth and artistic splendor, spanned from AD 500 to 700. When archaeologists finally breached the sealed chamber in the 20th century, they found a sarcophagus that had been left untouched for more than 1,200 years. A moment frozen in time. But long before its secrets were rediscovered, Palenque had already fallen silent. The glory of the city was not eternal. By the end of the 8th century, a mysterious decline had set in. The great rulers vanished from the records. The plazas fell empty. The sounds of life were replaced by the creeping whispers of the jungle. Nature began its slow, relentless reclamation. Roots, as strong as iron, split the stones apart. Ceaseless rain washed away the roads. The city that once commanded the region became a memory, a ghost city whispered about only by the rustling leaves of the immense jungle that consumed it. For more than 1,000 years, Palenque slept a dream of civilization hidden beneath a dense green canopy. Its temples became mounds, its palaces became hills. Its story was lost to all but the jungle itself. It remained this way, a lost world, until the 18th century when the first intrepid explorers, and later, dedicated archaeologists, began the painstaking process of bringing it back into the light, one stone at a time. Yet, what we see today, this incredible, awe-inspiring city, is only a fraction of its former self. It's estimated that more than 80% of Palenque remains buried, still clutched in the jungle's embrace. Every path you walk here is surrounded by unseen history, by temples and homes still waiting to be discovered. What we see today is just a glimpse of its ancient, magnificent soul. Every carved lintel, every towering column, and every intricate mask tells a piece of his epic story. These are not just decorative elements, they are historical records, a visual narrative of a king who inherited chaos and forged a golden age. They speak of a ruler who turned ruin into rebirth, leaving behind monuments so grand and so enduring that they have outlasted time itself, whispering his legacy to all who visit. Palenque's image is everywhere, a constant presence watching over his city. You see him on stele, on temple walls, and in intricate carvings serene, powerful and often adorned with his iconic jade headdress and funerary mask. He was the sun that warmed the city and the shield that protected it. Under Palenque's patronage, Palenque's architects and engineers achieved an unparalleled level of sophistication. The city's grand palace, a sprawling labyrinth of courtyards, galleries, and resonances, was expanded and perfected during his reign. It features 4 main courts, elegant vaulted rooms, mysterious subterranean tunnels, and the iconic 4-story observation tower, from which astronomers could chart the movements of the stars. The very layout of the palace, and indeed the entire city, was a physical manifestation of the Maya cosmos. It was designed to mirror the 3 levels of existence: the underworld, the earthly realm, and the heavens, weaving the sacred and the secular into a single, harmonious urban tapestry. Palenque's most enduring legacy is the structure that would become his final resting place, the Temple of the Inscriptions. This magnificent 9-level pyramid, representing the 9 levels of the Maya underworld, was commissioned by Palenque himself to serve as his own funerary monument. It is a masterpiece of Maya engineering and art. The temple walls are covered in one of the longest hieroglyphic texts ever discovered, a detailed chronicle of Palenque's history and Pakal's own lineage, cementing his place in the annals of his people for all eternity. The age of Pakal the Great was more than just a period of architectural and military might. It was a cultural renaissance that left an indelible mark on the Maya civilization. The artists of his court produced some of the most naturalistic and sophisticated sculptures in the ancient Americas. The scribes refined a complex system of writing, and the astronomers made precise calculations that governed both religious rituals and daily life. Palenque became a center of knowledge, a place where science, art, and spirituality converged. Pakal's reign fostered an environment where creativity flourished, and the legacy of that golden age can still be felt today. Pakal's dynasty continued through his sons, who built upon the foundations he had laid, further embellishing Palenque and continuing its legacy of power and influence. But no ruler would ever quite match the splendor or the longevity of his reign. As we look back through the mists of time, Pakal the Great stands as a towering figure, boy king who inherited a broken city and transformed it into a wonder of the ancient world. His story is a powerful reminder of how a single visionary leader can shape the course of history, leaving behind a legacy not just of stone, but of a civilization at its absolute zenith. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey back to the age of Pakal the Great. If you enjoyed this exploration of Maya history, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the ancient world. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. We'll see you next time.